I can introduce myself.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. I'm Professor Gregory Grimsby. I teach in the game design program here. I teach the 3D modeling and animation courses. This beginning course, advanced course, special topics courses, all kinds of fun stuff that I can torture my students with. And they learn lots.
Lots and lots. What was some of your experience in the industry before you came here?
So I worked in the games business for 15 years at various studios. I was a production artist for about 7-8 years, and then I got promoted to art director on a recent MMO that came, well, not so recent anymore, about 4 years ago, Warhammer Online: Age of Reckoning. So art director about 6.5, 7 years.
All right. So was that what you were aiming for in the industry? Was that like you were the art director, so you were way up there, right? So were you always
up there on the food chain?
Were you always working towards that specifically,
No.
or did you?
No, not really. And that's one of the downsides of having a role like that is you don't get to produce much. You're a manager, basically, and you have a lot of impact and control, but that comes at the expense of actually being in the craft, making stuff. And all managers have to deal with that. So I think most, at least myself, people getting into the business, they just want to get a job.
Yeah.
And then that transitions into they want to be good at their job, and then as they progress, opportunities happen. And I think a young artist really appreciates having a little more say, a little more influence, impact, because you feel you're stretching your muscles correctly and you're improving the product. And that was certainly my approach and my kind of path. It just happened, they kind of keep going until I got that opportunity. So
did you feel like once you really got into it that you didn't have much choice in what you were making anymore?
Well, so as an art director, you're not making anything.
Well, yeah, true.
You're like in Excel.
Well, maybe before you were an art director, did you feel like you were pretty limited to what, the people at the top were saying, you will make this?
No. Hopefully you're bought into the product. You like what it's about, and you enjoy the work. And whether you're making the first version of an asset, of a creature, or a location, or some drawing, or whether you've done it 100 times, then it can get a little monotonous. Hopefully just the process and the craft and like the fact you're pitching in to some awesome entertainment product, and that keeps you going, that keeps you motivated. And you're not just making assets, you're talking with other artists and getting their opinions and helping them with their work. It is collaborative, and it's a great environment to work in.
So what brought you out of the game industry and into teaching?
Well, lots of reasons. One I've already mentioned. My whole life I made art. I was drawing or painting, or when I got into the business I was making models and textures, and then when I transitioned to the leadership role, that all stopped. And after doing it for many years, I longed to be able to make stuff again, and I realized that was going to be really difficult where I was at. And it's also really draining on a person to be in that position. You're working 70, 80.
Yeah.
I've logged a couple 100-hour weeks, which is really tough. Like you're sleeping in the office. And
I'm already feeling that at points just being, in these classes. It's really preparing you, I know.
Yeah, doing that for weeks on end when you have a family, you get to the point, and I got to the point where I was not happy anymore. There were still a lot of great things about it. I did love the job on many levels, and I probably could have semi-happily kept doing it for quite a long time, but I had the opportunity present itself to teach, to instruct here at Mason, and so that was fortuitous. It gave me a way to still do something related to games. It gave me a little more free time, like this much free time, to do my own drawing again, my own projects. So that felt like a really good place to be. Not to mention the fact that I get to help other students pursue their dreams and get their skills up. Then they can go their own path, and makes me some awesome stuff that I want to play.
So what do you think of the way classes are organized here? Like how have you made your class structure to benefit students here?
So the game design program itself, much like the industry, has a lot of different disciplines interwoven. But it is like the business because it takes a lot of different people with a lot of different skill sets to make the games that we play. We need people who are really good at thinking about what's a fun experience and design that experience. And then we need people who are really good at like making cool art that looks pretty. Right? And then we need people who make sound, otherwise we have games with no sound. And then we have engineering folks who do all the game logic, and they're in another building.
We don't associate with them.
We need those people to make things interact. But a lot of different disciplines. And so for that reason, when you begin our curriculum, you're getting a sampling of all that. You're learning all the pieces that fit into that production pipeline. You're getting that foundational survey of knowledge. And the hope there is that if a student feels very strongly about their success in one of those areas, or they long to be in one of those areas, that in getting that survey they will have confirmed what their thoughts were. Like maybe coming in they had done some music before, and after taking some of the game design courses and some of the music game specific music courses, they go, yeah, that's what I want to do. And then the upper level courses, we just build on that. So hopefully the net product that comes out of this, looking at the student as a product, I hate to do that, but the net result of all that and their hard work and our instruction is that they have learned enough to get a job, right? We would hope that. We don't want starting people. It just depends on how much the student applies themselves during their career here.
So would you say that the game design program, like it would just prepare them for a job, or is it really depend on it really depends on the student, what the student's doing?
Well, it does, of course, depend upon the student. It's very competitive, and I think any other degree that very directly correlates to the job market, you might be able to say the same thing about graphic design. For example, the best students are competing. Everyone that comes out from all the programs across the galaxy are competing for jobs. So ultimately, your readiness is going to depend upon perhaps what you brought into the program in the first place, how hard you worked going through it, how much you just squeezed your professor's dry of knowledge during your tenure here, and hopefully at the end you'll be super competitive with everybody else kind of at your point in your career and be able to get a job.
So one of the huge features about the game design program is that it gets you into an internship, and they really help you.
Yes.
They pump the students into them. It's like it's a mandatory part of the major.
That's right.
Do you think when students go into this internship, they're often going in unprepared, or? Yeah.
No, but yes. Like the first time you work a real job, are you ever really prepared for it?
I think it depends on the job.
Depends on the job, and I think being ready for a game development job, there's a lot of fun aspects to it, and most of the students that I've talked to after they've taken their internship were like, "That was awesome! I want to do this forever." But they didn't know what to expect. They weren't prepared for the culture, the game development culture that those companies have, and how it is this mixture of fun, but there's a lot of hard work, and there is a lot of hours. I've already mentioned the hours thing. So there is a lack of preparedness just out of ignorance of what the environment is like. But you get acclimated to it and have a successful internship, hopefully. Are they prepared skill-wise for it? We like to think so. I mean, we try really hard to make sure at that upper level, when the internship happens, that they've taken the bulk of their coursework, with only things like their senior project left, aside from maybe some electives or whatever, or general education stuff. So they're ready. They're as skilled as we can get them, so they get accepted into the internships in the first place.
Okay, so again, shifting gears a little bit. Do you think do you think there's a divide between the game design community and the art community at all? Because what I've noticed is that there's a way different.
Are you fishing for an answer?
Well, yes, this is an interview. I'm also going to be manipulating this a lot later because we got to make it especially funny. But I do like getting serious responses.
All right.